Okay. Hello, I'm here today with JP Rangaswami of Salesforce. Hi JP, thanks for speaking to us today. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about whether you think that fund managers need to change their distribution models to meet today's consumers' demands.
I think definitely. I mean, the first and the biggest shift that's taken place is that the customer has moved into the social network environment.
Yep.
So the people have to get to the customer who isn't anymore where he used to be or where she used to be.
Yeah.
It's a different generation, different devices, a different environment, different values.
Sure.
And for the fund manager to get there, the access is itself going to look different.
Right.
Because, it's, for example, having a Facebook Connect strategy as a firm, determining which kind of brokers you want to work through, because the brokers aren't anymore the traditional firms necessarily, but the ones that have the biggest engagement in the marketplace your customers in.
Sure. And what sort of things are investors looking for from their advisors and the fund management industry as well?
I think more than anything else, the drive has been towards transparency.
Right.
And one of the questions that came up in one of the debates today, been that leads to what a regulator will have to do in this space in order to help provide that transparency.
Sure.
As with any other industry, one of the big asks to the investor is trust.
Sure.
How do I know? And the transparency and trust sort of go together.
Of course,
I think there's also a sense of the recommendation engine changing, because it's no longer broadcast sort of centralized advertising, but much more caring what your social network thinks.
JP, we were talking about transparency. Do you feel that transparency is happening, or are still people just still struggling with the transparency issue?
I think from transparency you come down to the idea of data, both in terms of product and service pricing, standards, availability, as well as in terms of what you collect about your customers and their profiles and their preferences. So it has become more and more important that your pricing mechanisms and your own indices and standards are published, and that's where a regulator will have a say.
Sure.
But the regulator is even more interested in what you do with the data about your customers.
Of course, yes.
So we're going through those two debates. But I think the good news is the trust and transparency are here to stay, which is good for the customer.
Of course,
The new technology means that access to that customer has become faster, cheaper, better for the fund manager, whether he goes through a broker or directly.
Sure.
I think the level of data available means that you have a lot more information about how to design the products and services, almost regardless of channel. The feedback loops are really powerful now.
Sure.
And the cost of experimentation is as low as it's ever been.
So
these are good times for the industry, provided you can capture those trends.
Of course, yes. And do you feel there needs to be a greater understanding of behavioral science at all?
I think, Tim Berners-Lee, the founder of the web, has been pushing very hard for something called the Web Science Trust and the Web Science Foundation for a while. And an equivalent of that will now, I think, leach its way into every single profession.
Sure.
Because the way you engage with the customer, a better understanding of behavioral science is there. But I think, as we discussed this morning, the flip side of it is that we also have to improve the education that we provide, almost from youth onwards, at the consumer end.
Yes, of course.
So I think the producers are becoming more aware of almost social anthropology.
Sure.
And the consumer needs to be more aware of the risks of what he does and the value of what he's doing.
Sure. Okay. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you.
A pleasure, Kalpana.